When a single wrong step means your skin melts off your bones in under an hour, when driving to work has claimed more lives than most wars, when an entire lake turns living creatures into stone statues, you know you've entered territories where nature doesn't just challenge humans, it actively wants them gone. But here's what researchers recently discovered that changes everything we thought we knew about these death zones. Right now, thousands of people are booking trips to places that have body counts higher than horror movies, and what they're finding there is beyond anything you'd imagine. The venom found on one particular island could revolutionize medicine and save millions, yet stepping foot there means almost certain death. Scientists have measured temperatures in one valley that literally rewrote the record books, and locals in another region drive a road so deadly they've given up counting the casualties. What happens when you combine fog that blinds you, cliffs that drop 2,000 feet, and roads barely wide enough for one vehicle but used by two-way traffic? 300 deaths per year. That's what happens. But that's just number 10 on our list, and trust me, it only gets worse from here. Let's start with a place that earned its nickname through rivers of blood and twisted metal. North Yungas Road in Bolivia doesn't hide what it is. Locals call it El Camino de la Muerte, the death road, and they're not being dramatic. Picture this, you're driving along a path carved into the side of a mountain. The road is 10 feet wide at its widest point. There are no guardrails, waterfalls pour directly onto the road, creating rivers of mud, and every few hundred feet there's another blind hairpin turn where you can't see what's coming. Now add thick fog that reduces visibility to almost nothing, and remember that this is a two-way road. When two vehicles meet, one has to reverse along the edge of a cliff that drops 610 meters straight down. This nightmare was built in the 1930s by Paraguayan prisoners of war during the Chaco War, many of whom died during construction. From its highest point at 4,650 meters, it plummets over 3,500 meters into the Amazon rainforest in just 40 miles. The Inter-American Development Bank officially named it the world's most dangerous road in the 1990s, and the statistics back it up. Until 1994, roughly 300 people died on this road every year. A single year saw 25 vehicles plunge off its cliffs. The road is lined with crosses, flowers, and faded photographs marking where buses full of people simply disappeared over the edge. Here's the twisted part. Despite a safer bypass being built in 2006, around 25,000 thrill-seeking cyclists now travel this route annually, and since 1998, at least 20 of them haven't made it back. Tour operators provide safety equipment, but when you're cycling along a muddy 10-foot-wide track with a sheer drop on one side and rock walls on the other, equipment can only do so much. The Bolivian government even changed the traffic laws specifically for this road. Everyone drives on the left instead of the right, because it gives drivers a slightly better view of the cliff edge. That's how dangerous it is. They had to rewrite the rules of the road itself. But roads you can see are one thing. What about threats you can't? 25 miles off the coast of Brazil sits an island that the Brazilian government has made illegal to visit. Ilha da Queimada Grande, known as Snake Island, has a reputation so terrifying that fishermen refuse to go anywhere near it. Legend says the last one who got too close was found days later floating in his boat, dead in a pool of his own blood. The danger comes from what scientists estimate are between 2,000 and 4,000 golden lancehead pit vipers living on this island, one of the deadliest snake species on the planet. These aren't your average snakes. The golden lancehead's venom is so potent it can melt human flesh. When the venom enters your bloodstream, your skin literally begins to dissolve, and you could be dead within an hour. There's nowhere to hide either, because these snakes are everywhere. Researchers estimate there's roughly one snake per square meter in some areas of the island. But here's what makes this place even stranger. Golden lanceheads exist nowhere else on Earth. This island is their entire world. Thousands of years ago, rising sea levels cut the island off from the mainland, trapping a population of snakes that evolved in complete isolation. Without ground-based prey, they developed super potent venom to kill birds mid-flight.
The Brazilian Navy strictly enforces the ban on visiting, but that hasn't stopped black market dealers from trying to capture these snakes. A single golden lancehead can sell for tens of thousands of dollars because their venom, the same venom that melts human tissue, is being studied to create anti-venom that could save thousands of lives. The only people allowed on the island are researchers with special permits, and even they don't stay long. Every expedition is a calculated risk, every step potentially fatal. If Snake Island is about venom that melts flesh, then Lake Natron in Tanzania is about water that turns flesh to stone. This isn't mythology or exaggeration. Animals that die in or near this lake become calcified, preserved in an eerie stone-like state. The lake sits at the base of an active volcano in the Rift Valley, and its waters are so caustic they can reach a pH level above 12. For reference, bleach has a pH of around 12.5. The extreme alkalinity comes from high concentrations of natron, a naturally occurring compound of sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate. As water evaporates under the intense African sun, it leaves behind these minerals in ever-increasing concentrations, creating what's essentially a lake of liquid lye. The water temperature regularly exceeds 120 degrees Fahrenheit.
If you were to wade into Lake Natron, the alkaline water would begin burning your skin and eyes almost immediately. The lake's surface shimmers with an otherworldly red and orange color created by unique microorganisms called cyanobacteria that have somehow adapted to thrive in these hellish conditions. These are the only organisms that can survive here, and they're what give the lake its distinctive blood-red appearance. Strangely enough, lesser flamingos have made Lake Natron their primary breeding ground. Hundreds of thousands of them gather here because the extreme conditions that kill everything else also mean no predators can reach their nests. The flamingos have evolved specialized skin on their legs that can withstand the caustic water, at least for short periods. Dead birds and animals that wash up on the shore become encrusted with minerals, creating haunting calcified statues that look like they've been turned to stone. Photographer Nick Brandt captured these eerie images, showing perfectly preserved birds locked in their final positions, transformed into mineral monuments by the lake's deadly chemistry. Speaking of extreme temperatures, let's journey from burning heat to cold so intense it redefines what humans can endure. Oymyakon, Russia holds the record as the coldest permanently inhabited place on Earth. This small village has recorded temperatures as low as -96.2 degrees Fahrenheit. At these temperatures, exposed skin freezes in minutes, breath turns to ice crystals in the air, and touching metal with bare hands can instantly freeze your skin to it. The roughly 500 people who live here year-round have adapted to conditions that would kill most humans within hours. Cars must be kept running constantly because if an engine stops in winter, it may never start again. Fuel can gel, batteries die instantly, and metal becomes brittle enough to shatter. The ground is permanently frozen to depths exceeding 1,500 feet, meaning nothing can be buried. Locals have developed unique survival skills passed down through generations. They know exactly how long they can stay outside before frostbite becomes irreversible, usually measured in single-digit minutes during the worst cold snaps. Schools close only when temperatures drop below -60 degrees Fahrenheit. Think about that. Children walking to school in -59-degree weather is considered acceptable. The village name itself, Oymyakon, translates to non-freezing water, named after a nearby hot spring that remains liquid even in winter. That hot spring represents survival, one of the few sources of water when everything else is locked in ice. But if Oymyakon represents the extreme of cold, Death Valley, California represents the opposite end of that spectrum. This desert valley holds the record for the highest temperature reliably recorded on Earth, 134.4 degrees Fahrenheit in 1913. During summer, temperatures regularly exceed 120 degrees, and even overnight, it might only cool down to 90 degrees. Hikers unprepared for these conditions can experience heat stroke and dehydration within hours. The National Park Service has posted warnings throughout the valley. There is no cell phone service along most park roads. Help may be many hours away. Travel prepared to self-rescue. The valley got its name in 1849 when a group of pioneers attempting to cross to California got lost here.
Despite the name, only one person from that group actually died in the valley, but survivors were so traumatized by the experience that as they finally escaped over the Panamint Mountains, one looked back and said, "Goodbye, Death Valley." The name stuck, and for good reason. Besides the heat, the valley is home to venomous rattlesnakes, scorpions, and spiders that hide in the sparse shade. Flash floods represent another danger because when rain finally comes to Death Valley, it arrives in violent bursts that turn dry creek beds into raging torrents within minutes. The valley floor sits 282 feet below sea level, making it the lowest point in North America, and this depression creates a natural oven effect where heat becomes trapped and concentrated. Yet despite all this, Death Valley attracts thousands of visitors annually, drawn by its alien landscapes, massive sand dunes, and the strange beauty of a place that seems designed to kill anything that enters. These places share something beyond danger. They represent the absolute limits of where humans can exist, where nature's extreme conditions create environments so hostile that survival requires either incredible adaptation or accepting massive risk. North Yungas Road kills through human error amplified by impossible geography. Snake Island kills through venom so powerful it melts flesh in minutes. Lake Natron kills through chemistry that turns living tissue to stone. Oymyakon tests the limits of cold tolerance. Death Valley pushes the boundaries of heat survival. Each location has claimed lives, yet each also draws people who want to test themselves against these extremes. Scientists study Snake Island's vipers to create life-saving medicines. Tour operators guide cyclists down Death Road, turning terror into tourism. Researchers brave Lake Natron to understand extremophile organisms that might hold clues to life on other planets. The few hundred people of Oymyakon prove humans can adapt to almost anything. Death Valley's harsh conditions preserve ancient geological records found nowhere else. These aren't just dangerous places, they're laboratories of human limits, natural wonders that simultaneously fascinate and terrify. The golden lancehead vipers of Snake Island, isolated for millennia, evolved venom so potent it could revolutionize medicine. The microorganisms thriving in Lake Natron's caustic waters might hold secrets to surviving on Mars. The residents of Oymyakon demonstrate human resilience that defies logic. Each location tells us something about the planet we inhabit and our place within it. They remind us that Earth isn't entirely domesticated, that places still exist where nature sets the rules and humans either adapt or die. What drives people to these places? Is it the thrill of surviving what has killed others? The desire to witness something so extreme it defies normal experience? Or perhaps it's simpler, the need to know we can face the absolute worst and walk away. Whatever the reason, these 10 locations represent the dangerous edge of human exploration, places where every visit is a calculated gamble and every survivor has a story that sounds impossible until you see the evidence with your own eyes.
If you want more, don't forget to leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and like the video. Thanks for watching.